Hi everyone, welcome to our lesson today. We are doing a still life collage which is inspired by an artist called Margaret Olley. Margaret Olley is a Brisbane girl. She was a still life artist and she created some really amazing still lifes in her time, and I'm talking about hundreds and hundreds of different paintings. You can go to the Tweed Valley Art Gallery and actually see a recreation of her house, which is pretty amazing to watch actually, because this is what her house used to look like and they recreated it. This is what they've got in the Tweed Valley Art Gallery. So they basically put everything that was in her original house, which is in Sydney where she ended up, and they put it in there. You can see she's got like roses, chocolates, and there's paint everywhere and still life flowers, and really an inspiring lady. She's passed now, but she still gives us lots of inspiration as to what we could do. So for today's lesson, what I've told you needed to get was 3 to 4 pieces of A4 paper, a pencil, an eraser, some glue, some scissors, something to draw with. Pencils or oil pastels are ideal for this activity. And then I've asked you to get 4 different items that you could draw and of differing sizes so they look good when they're grouped together. I've just got a simple pot plant. This is a gravy jug, an orange and an apple, because I'm actually running out of fruit at the moment. But whatever you've got together is totally fine. The first thing we're going to do is take the item that is the biggest that you've selected. For me, it's the pot plant. And you're going to take one of your pieces of paper and you're going to draw that for me. So let's just have a quick go at drawing this in.
Okay, wait, I'll come around behind you to do this bit.
So you basically just want to do a quick little drawing. It doesn't have to be perfect to start off with. We just want to get the outline basically of your plant. Just get those main bits in. Let's see. So I'm just going to draw mine overlapping what's in front of it so I can sort of get my plant where it needs to be. And it doesn't really matter if you're not doing it exact. Basically today what I'm trying to teach you is how that you can get the actual perspective of your still life right. So when we have items that are overlapping each other, it can get a little tricky. Okay, then basically what you want to do is you're going to colour in this part of your picture. I'm just going to use oil pastels. And I'm going to do it really, really quickly just so you get an idea of what I'm talking about. Now remember what I've always said to you in terms of leaves and so forth, that generally there's normally more than one colour that happens in leaves. They're not just one type of green. I'm limited to my oil pastels at the moment because that's what I've got out. Alright, so you're just going to get that in. I won't do all of it because I don't want to waste time watching me colour in. I need some brown for the dirt. So I'll put that in there. Okay, so that's step 1. So we're going to put that to the side. We're going to leave this. This is your background. So we're going to leave that. We can come back and finish the colouring in a second. We're going to put that over to the side. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my jug. That's because in terms of size it goes my apple, my orange, my jug and my plant. So we want to work in the reverse order. So I'm just going to give myself a bit of an outline for my jug. Now my jug's white. Now obviously that's a bit tricky because drawing things that are white on white paper doesn't actually work very well. So today I'm just using a grey. Okay, and you're trying to draw things actually the size that you see them. Okay, and then we're going to add a handle on here like this. Now, if you are using something that's white, you can actually put some grey pastel in there and then you can actually go over it with some white sections. It's pretty hard to see, but it will actually transfer. And what you need to remember is things that show shadows. So in the middle of this jug, should be pretty dark because there's no light getting in that jug. So I'm just going to go over that pretty solidly in what I think is probably the opening of the jug. Okay, as I said, not too much detail to start with. We're just going to round that off a bit better there. Okay, so that's item number 2. So I'm going to put that aside. Next I have my orange. Orange is pretty simple, quite round. So basically you're just going to draw that shape in. I've got my little navel in there. Now with the orange you could make it a couple of different colours because I can actually see 2 different colours in that. I can see a little bit of a red. Might be able to go over that a smidge with the red and blend it in a bit. And then I can keep going around that with an orange. As I said, just get the shapes in there. This will all make sense in a minute when we start to cut it all out. Okay, so we've got our orange. Put that aside. Last but not least, we have the little apple. In fact, I could use that bit of paper for the apple. I don't quite have that colour, so I'm just going to pick something that's remotely like it. Alright, so we've got our little apple. I'm just going to draw him in. We've got the stem coming out there. I'll just quickly put that in. It's got some yellow in it. Yellow, orange, maybe. So with oil pastels, it's a bit difficult getting the right shade sometimes, but as I said, I'm just going to get something that's close for my apple. Alright, that'll do. Like I said, I'm not real worried about all the bits and pieces at the beginning. So, now what you're going to do for me, you're going to take your very first thing that you drew. For me it was the pot plant. And you're going to put that down flat. And you're going to rearrange all your items together and have some overlap there. So obviously my jug's overlapping my pot plant and my apple's overlapping my orange. What you're going to do now is you're going to take all of your items and you're going to cut them out and you're going to glue them onto your back piece of paper, which is for me my pot plant. Okay, so the first thing now, what I want you to do though is I want you to take real careful notice of where the pot plant's actually sitting before you glue it. My pot plant is closer, my jug is closer to me than the pot plant. So if I were to glue this in right now, I'd have to glue it about here. So it's going to go off my page and that's okay. So we'll glue that in quickly. So right on the edge there, it's going to come out about here, I think. Okay, I'll put my orange back, so then I'm going to cut out my orange. Okay, now move my apple out of the way. My orange is actually in front of my pot plant and slightly touching my jug. So I'm going to try and arrange that so it's in the right spot, and I can't see my pot plant. I can't see the base of it. So I'm going to stick my orange to make sure that's in the right spot. Okay, that's looking good. And last but not least, I've got my apple. So I'm going to chop him out. Okay, once we get him in, there's 2 things left to do. So my apple is in front of my white jug and slightly touching my orange. So I'm going to pop him there. Okay, so at this point you actually can see all of your items in perspective as I can see them in front of me. So if we were to hold this up, we've got everything appearing where it should be. Now what you could do if you really wanted to is you can go back and you can actually finish off adding in all of the details for the areas that you can see. This is why I was rushing initially is because there's no point colouring a heap of sections in that you're not actually going to see in the end. Now, once you've done that, there's one final step, and that is you're now going to redraw that as a practice just with a pencil without the overlapping. So basically you're going to draw it how you see it. So for me, I'm going to have my pot plant coming up here, and you can just do a rough sketch, and it doesn't go all the way across before my jug gets in the way, so I'll have to put my jug in there. And then I see a tiny little bit of my pot plant, but then my jug comes around and it stops. I can't see any more there because my orange is in the way. So I'm going to put my orange in, and then my apple's contacting that. Just a quick sketch is fine. Okay, continue with my jug. Again, I haven't given myself enough room, so I'm going to run off the page, which is okay. And then you can put, obviously, your plant in up here. So the idea is that because we did this step by step and then we glued it in front of each other, you actually can see what you're supposed to draw and what you can't. So that's how you approach still life. You always draw from back to the front, whether you're drawing or painting, it doesn't really matter. But a really good exercise, and then you can go through, and if you wanted to, you could colour your second piece as well. So that's today's lesson on how to draw still life. Hope you've enjoyed it. We'll get together and have a meeting so I can help you go through it. Getting things in front of one another and contacting each other is a little bit tricky. We haven't even talked about shadowing and reflections yet, but we will talk about that throughout the meeting, so I can help you to draw what you're seeing. Okay, let's have a great lesson. I'll see you soon. Bye.